Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
How you kids doing? Asshole Consulting. Hey, dickhead. I think you should be called Dickhead Consulting, but that's just me. I've recently found and are greatly enjoying your videos. I have two burning questions that have driven me crazy for years. I think you'll like these both because you get to bash on baby boomers and because they're speculative, so research or anything resembling work is probably not needed. I so agree with you that though they spawn worse, the baby boomers culturally, socially, politically, and definitely economically have grievously wounded this country and are either too stupid, selfish, or lazy to do any of the obvious things to keep it from sinking. I think they're also unaware. They wouldn't know what to do. I mean, there's always smart and dumb people in every generation, but when you take your rank and file people from whatever generation, most of them, I mean, most people cannot explain why you just can't print off more money. That's kind of like a litmus test. I like to see if you got slightly better than average thinking. And I don't think the vast majority of boomers don't even know why they don't have enough money saved up for retirement. So I would also throw in naivete, just not thinking, not saying, hey, let's go into the bowels of the Titanic and make sure that the engine room is working all right. Everyone's just shuffleboarding on top of the deck and drinking scotch. And doing any of the other obvious things to keep it from sinking. Consider this, in 1990, the debt was irritating but manageable. The economy was relatively strong. We defeated all enemies that mattered. Right about then, the baby boomers took the helm. We could have had a great civilization right now. We could have explored the solar system. We could have brought the world closer to a Star Trek reality, but instead they took literally the best, greatest, wealthiest civilization that's ever existed and trashed it in every way possible, and within a stunningly short time, hundreds of years from now, historians are going to marvel at these people. They will go down because it's such a dramatic fall from the peak the World War II generation had us at the end of World War II. It's such a spectacular right, very quick. What I like to point out is the fashion, how quickly that went from the early 60s, where you still had nice fashion, to 1968, where you just had the hippies and some of the most hideous clothes and hideous music. But they hadn't taken over just yet. I'd say they probably take over in the 80s, late 80s, depending on how old these baby boomers were. I don't know if we'd be closer to Star Trek, because we can always slam on the baby boomers, but Gen X was not much better. And the millennials are even worse. We did, which is the worst generation? You can look up that video. And I think technically the boomers, based on voting, are pretty closely tied to Gen X, but the millennials are just rank socialists. But yeah, they were handed like, hey, here's the world's greatest. Oh, don't break it. You already did. Oh, never mind. Yeah, do some more pot. My questions: 1, I understand the boomers were spoiled, selfish brats that got everything handed to them on a platter and were too clueless to appreciate the magnitude of the gift. Mere coasting, narrow-style laziness, and even Caligula debauchery I could understand, but they took it further. I've never understood why they're so eager to throw out everything. All cumulative wisdom of 2,000 years Western civilization, try 4,000. 200 years of American history, and most inexplicably, everything their parents knew or told them in favor of performing a ruinous national social science experiment. I get they are stunningly arrogant as a group. Many are walking Dunning-Kruger data points. But what's with the vitriol, the fixation to turn away from everything the parents believed? I don't know if it was that they turned away as much as that they were incredibly spoiled. There had never been, up to that point, a more spoiled generation than the baby boomers. The wealth just was not there to take care of kids. And whereas the world's greatest generation, they suffered through the Great Depression, then they went to World War II. They understandably but naively spoiled the baby boomers with just, what do you want? We don't want you to go through that. And don't realize that those trials and tribulations and tough times that they went through is what made them the world's greatest generation. So the baby boomers, I don't think they consciously turned away from it. It's just that they were so spoiled that, when it came time to be an adult, when it came time to listen to Western civilization and their parents, it's just easier. It is less work. It requires less work to, wow, we're different, man. We figured it out. Don't trust anyone under 30. That came from the boomers. Like, yeah, don't trust the World War II generation. Don't trust the scientists who put us on the frickin' moon. So it can be defined or explained in one word: change. And by that I mean under the Obama campaign, we're going to run change is better. Change, forget wisdom. Forget time-tested wisdom. Change is always good because it's better, and usually 9 out of 10 times when a politician or a social or political mood says change, it means easier shit. That's what it means. Because let's just put it this way, Western civilization or not, all of humanity has evolved to get some basic bits of wisdom down. And these aren't even bits of wisdoms as much as they are hard laws of life, hard rules and laws of life. Like, you have to work hard in order to be successful. Life is not easy. And that's just life. That's how it is. But that's a hard sell, especially to a spoiled generation. And so you had college professors, you had media, you had certainly media, definitely starting up in the 80s, like, oh, you can have it all, man. And feminism telling me you can have it all, you don't have to work hard. And that was so much easier and so much more novel. Like, they're doing social experiments, man. It's like, no, that's why I get a kick out of hippies. They always like claim to have some kind of intellectual side or some kind of philosophical endeavor. And it's like, no, you didn't want to work, you want to do pot, and you want to party. So don't act like you're some kind of like highfalutin philosopher. You're just a pothead. You're just a hippie. So I don't think the vitriol, I don't even know if it would be vitriol. I know a lot of them became more vitriolic, although this is now my generation where we have the social justice warriors. That is purely Generation X, especially in academia, where they've been trained by communists to hate the United States, to hate freedom, to hate Western civilization, even to the point that I think some of them do hate males. I think some of them do hate whites, people, and anything that isn't your standard, boring, cookie-cutter, normal guy. I think some of them they certainly want to turn them into a criminal class so they can rationalize taking money away. That much is easy. So I think when they get infected with an ideology like socialism, hardcore socialism, that's where it's vitriolic, and they hate the United States because we pollute and we're oppressive, and it depends on how many of them are true believers. Some of them actually, they are true believers in that stuff. But I don't think I haven't witnessed the vitriol. It's been a naivete and a cluelessness on the part of the baby boomers. Who are like, yeah, man, let's just have everybody move here, man. We don't need voter ID laws, man. 2, having worked for and known many a baby boomer, in my experience, most have been conformists, think inside the box, don't rock the boat type of people. I have also always had a difficult time trying to mentally square these people as the ones who also decided, hey, what the hell, let's just chuck everything and replace it with some stuff we made up and see what happens. The last 2 times I worked for boomers, it went like this. I worked for one patent law firm about 15 years ago. I could not send documents to the boomer I worked for because he, with a STEM degree, refused how to learn to use a computer. The firm would get documents from the patent and trademark office and hand transcribe them into e-documents. I suggested they get one of them newfangled scanners and save a ton of time. 2 weeks later, several partners call me in and yell at me. Yeah. With all involving me, they bought the cheapest scanner possible, somehow messed up the software while loading. The scanner shocker wasn't effective, and it was all my fault for having a bad idea. After my escape to another law firm, and about 9 months later, my bosses pulled me into a room to ask why my billable hours are so low. I explained that my computer freezes 3 times out of 4, 3 days out of 4. They won't let me work from home. Here's my million emails to the IT guy asking to fix it, which is kind of hard for him since he's the office manager's husband. Oh, nepotism, great. Another boomer and doesn't know anything about computers, and here's at least 5 emails to one of them or another asking for another computer and pointing out that they're losing as much in part of a single day of my downtime as the new computer would have cost. Then they lost 2 big clients because they never bothered to visit them and laid every associate off, making it a moot point. Wow, they laid off every associate? That's not good. Oddly enough, I became a hired gun consultant and never let all my income depend on baby boomer bosses ever again. I add these tales because they might help convey what I find so perplexing, that these conformists are the same people who ran the social science experiment so radical. It will probably take down the entire civilization. I've wondered this over many a discussion over many a beer with pretty smart guys in at least 3 countries, but nobody seems to have any better idea than I do. Thoughts? Well, here's the difference. It's in management, and I don't think this is having dysfunctional bosses. Certainly, the baby boomers took the gold home on crappy bosses and crappy management, and in part, how you point out, they just refuse to understand technology because deep down inside they're lazy. But I would say that the reason you see ineptitude is not because they're baby boomers. It's because they're management. Remember, to get ahead in business, it took me a long time to figure this out, because obviously you're thinking like a Gen Xer would, or any logical person. Like, hey, if we got a scanner, we could do it, and you get in trouble. I have stories, other people have stories where I said, hey, let's not make loans to somebody with a credit score of 390, which it does exist. You can have credit scores in the 300s. That's not how, and you are rocking the boat. You get ahead by conformance, not performance, in the business world. And I think this transcends generations. So what you saw with baby boomers are really good conformists, really good obedient types who don't want to rock the boat, who are incapable of leadership, who just are milky toast and very average IQs. That's pretty much every manager. And then when it comes time to introduce technology, oh, dude, I've been there. Like this is not. At first, you're thinking, what the hell's wrong with me? Like, what did I... And then you look at just what these rookie league mistakes, like, oh, I don't want to learn that Excel stuff. It's like, dude, it is 2013. Learn the fucking Excel. Hand-scrapping documents from the patent office, not having OCR recognition. I could see that, but I think that's more of a function of management that you'd find anywhere. The baby boomers maybe had that turned up to 11, with their laziness, their ineptitude, and their absolute refusal to learn technology. But that's why you see them being conformists, yet when they were younger, maybe it was the same people, but as they got older, they had to conform. That's why you didn't see the crazy experimental, let's try this. You did see that, though, in academia, but it wasn't change for the good, it was just change for socialism. So you see the social science experiments. I mean, look at how they came up with the concept of privilege. They came up with the concept of raising awareness and outreach. The entire pablum of the social sciences, which isn't the sciences, that to show how they've just pushed that into territory that doesn't exist. Just this self-pablum, self-aggrandizement, bogus made up. They've experimented with that, but nothing that's actually going to advance society, revolutionize it, take down civilization, take down Western civilization. That's where the tinkering and the experimentation went, but that's in the social sciences. That's not in banking. You could argue, the likes of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, they did. What's his name? Not the Google guy, Amazon guy, Bezos. You could argue that those baby boomers were experimental and but they're the statistical oddity. They're not the standard. So yeah, that's what I would say when you're. That's why I think you could see all these inside the box, don't rock the boat type of people, because it's management. If you get to where the hippies went and worked out, I mean, they really haven't come up with a new idea. They just added a bunch of new vocabulary words to basically say take other people's money and call it feminism, call it socialism, call it global warming, whatever it is. That's where the creativity went. But it's not impressive creativity. It's radical. It's vitriolic, but it's not innovative or creative or productive either. So. All right, that's it. You guys got questions, Cappy's got answers over at assholeconsulting.com. Check out the Older Brother podcast and all that other good stuff. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.